Hi there, Dwayne Laughlin here with a new routine to share. I'm always excited about new routines. I'm especially excited about this one. It begins by showing the audience a strange box. It almost looks like a cupboard. And it makes me think of that old nursery rhyme, old Mother Hubbard went to the cupboard to get her poor doggy a bone. But when she got there, the cupboard was bare, and so her poor doggy had none. We've got a little bare cupboard here for you. Now, a lot of people, concerning that nursery rhyme, don't understand how tragic the rhyme really was, and that it was an expression of the times, a time when people didn't have food, a time when there was famine, and so much so that folks didn't even have anything to feed their dogs. That's where that nursery rhyme comes from. And it makes me think of a story in the Old Testament. The story is found in 1 Kings chapter 17 about a widow who lived in a place called Zarephath, and there was a tremendous famine in the land. And like old Mother Cupboard, when it came to the widow, her cupboard was bare. I say bare. Actually, she had just a little bit left in it. Just enough so that she could prepare one last meal. In fact, the Bible tells us that she was sending her young son out so he could get some sticks to prepare a little fire so they could cook up their last meal. So they could cook whatever they had left and they would eat it, and once they ate it, then that was going to be it. It would be all over. They were going to starve to death. Well, the prophet came to town. His name was Elijah. And Elijah said to the widow, I need a meal. Would you feed me, please? Now, can you imagine this? All you have left is enough food for you and your son, and you're about to prepare your last meal, and then you're going to starve to death. You're going to die, and somebody says, well, I'm hungry. And essentially, Elijah was saying, give me your last meal. Feed me with what you have in your cupboard. And the widow tried to explain, well, there's nothing in our cupboard. Our cupboard is bare. I mean, we've got a little bit, but it's barely enough for my son and I to have our last meal. Elijah said, give that to me. Feed me with that. And if you do that, I promise you, you'll never run short. As long as the famine lasts, God will take care of you. It's an incredible story. And the woman was a woman who had heard of Elijah's God. And for reasons that frankly are beyond my ability to fully understand, that she would have such amazing faith, but she did, she said, okay. And so she took the last little bit of oil and meal that she had, and she made a meal for the prophet. Well, guess what happened? Did the woman and her son starve to death afterwards? No. In fact, the next time the woman went to her cupboard to find something for them to eat, there was something there. In fact, as the story goes, as long as that famine continued to last in the land, every time the woman went to the cupboard, she could find more and more oil. Now, I've got bottles of juice here, because I'm not exactly sure what her oil would have looked like back in the Old Testament time. But what you see with all these different bottles of juice illustrates the fact that God took care of her. God kept His promise. The whole time the famine was in the land, that woman and her son had everything they needed. God provided for them in a most amazing way. Now you say, well, that's an Old Testament story. Does God still take care of His people? In the New Testament, in the book of Philippians, there's a wonderful verse, Philippians 4:19, where we are told that our God will supply all of our needs according to His riches and glory by Christ Jesus. Now we see a great big rainbow stretching up and out of the box. Now this is just a rainbow of color created by fabric, but it reminds us of the rainbow in the sky and how that's a statement that God keeps His promises. And if God says He's going to take care of our people, His people, and if God says He's going to supply our needs, we can trust Him to do that. Now this is an illusion. Who would have thought my simple little cabinet that appeared to have nothing in it could have actually had so much in it? And yet this is nothing compared to God's promise and how He does take care of His people. You can trust Him to do exactly that. Just some quick comments. Again, this is YouTube, so I don't explain the methods of the tricks. I will tell you I'm very excited about this. It's a really nice product. It's really nicely made. And it will be available from LaughlinMagicStore.com very soon. As far as my handling, what I do with it, I'm working hard to come up with a system of putting the explanations for my YouTube tricks onto a flash drive And that means that if you want to get the explanations of these things, all you'll have to do is order the flash drive, and then we'll be able to show you how everything is done, give you our insight in handling and such. But for now, you saw the presentation, you saw the routine. I think it's a really cool idea. It's a trick that packs pretty small, plays big, and I think that a lot of gospel musicians are going to be able to put this to good use. So that's it. Dwayne Laughlin just sharing another idea on my Gospel Magic YouTube channel.